Will everyone please rise for the presentation of the colors by the FDNY ceremony unit? Detail, 10 Hut. Please remain standing as I invite Lieutenant John Leary to sing the national anthem. Detail and salute.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready, do. Nice job, John. Please remain standing as I invite Father Fred Pellegrino to deliver the invocation.
Good and gracious God, we invoke your name as we remember the name and the great FDNY man Raymond Downey. We say his name and we recall the gift of himself to his family and to the FDNY in his 39 years of service. We recall the sacrifice of himself, not only on 9/11, but also in all those years. A sacrifice is an offering. You give up something of value in order to get something even more valuable in the future. People who put themselves on the line and sacrifice their own safety for the greater good and for others, they are inspiring and important people. Brotherhood means laying down your life for someone, really willing to sacrifice yourself for someone else. To put others in front of ourselves is to put God in front of everything. And the FDNY is known for service and brotherhood. It's your willingness to protect the life and property of others, even in the most challenging and dangerous situations. And that's what inspires us and makes people feel safe. It also reveals how God works. Your commitment and Ray's commitment reveal the work of God. Ray's service and expertise, especially in any kind of rescue operation, show us the best and most noble of the profession of an FDNY firefighter. And they continue to show us a person's fulfillment of Christ's words. Greater love than this no one has than to lay down his life for another. Christ put others in front of himself, laid down his life, and that's how we know our brotherhood with God. So we come here today in gratitude for having Ray Downey in our lives, for having him in the FDNY, for how God used Ray to show how important we are and show how every human effort to search and rescue any person is a sign of God's desire to preserve us in the life he has given us. Bless our remembering today. Bless Ray's family, all the members of the FDNY family, and those who train here, especially all the members of the Special Operations Command and the Urban Search and Rescue Task Force. We lift up to you all those members of the FDNY who were killed on 9/11 and those who have died since then. God, put your courage and strength in our hearts so that we may continue to fulfill the FDNY mission. We make this prayer as your beloved children. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Please retire the colors. Everyone, please be seated. Detail at ease. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lieutenant Joe LaPointe. I'm honored to be your Master of Ceremonies. We are here today to dedicate the new Deputy Chief Raymond Downey All Hazards Disaster Training Site. It's now my pleasure to introduce the members of the dais. Acting Fire Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh. Acting Chief of Department John Hodges. Chief of Special Operations John Esposito. Acting Assistant Chief of Operations Mike Alla. Chief of Fire Prevention Joe Jordan. Chief of Counterterrorism and Emergency Preparedness Thomas Correo. Chief of Fire Safety Inspection Services Mike Myers. Assistant Chief of Fire Prevention Kevin Brennan. Acting Chief of Training Frank Lieb. Acting Chief of the Fire Academy Charles Downey. You've met Father Freddie. Queensboro Commander Fred Schaff. Brooklyn Borough Commander Joseph Ferrante. Staten Island Borough Commander Kevin Woods. Manhattan Borough Commander Michael Agello. Bronx Borough Commander John Sirocco. Assistant Chief Fire Marshal Mike Kavanaugh. Chief of Uniformed Personnel Michael Masucci. Deputy Assistant Chief Ian Swords. Deputy Assistant Chief of Operations Roberto Colon. Chief of the EMS Academy Joseph Pataki. Chief of Planning Fred Villani. Big round of applause for all the members of our dais. A very special welcome to the Downey family joining us today. Chief Downey's wife, Rosalie, his children, Marie, Ray, Kathy, Joe, and Chuck, as well as other family members and friends. Welcome to you all. We also like to welcome past and present members of the Special Operations Command and all other uniformed members. It's now my honor to introduce our first speaker, Acting Fire Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh.
Thanks, Joe. Good morning. I didn't have the good fortune to know Ray, as many as you did, but I would say that my life and my time at the fire department has been deeply shaped by him. And so in many ways, I feel not only that I knew him, but certainly that it is a great testament to him and who he was, that he had such a powerful influence that even today, I really feel like I do know him, and his family has really taken their love and their dedication of the fire department and their knowledge through Chuck and Joe and passed it on to me. And that's been not only incredibly meaningful, but I think has made me a stronger leader and a better part of the FDNY family. And so, I feel incredibly honored to be here today. I think this is truly a full circle moment, not only to have the Downey family here, to have Mrs. Downey here, but to have the third generation of Downey family members serving the FDNY, and to see us dedicate this in honor of him. I think Chief Lieb told me that Ray put the very first piece of equipment on this site. So it is truly full circle. He was truly a man who ensured that his legacy would live on and that the fire department and the members of special operations would be better for it, that they'd be able to train for anything that could ever come their way, keeping them safe. And so with that, I know that we will never forget Ray, and I think he would think it was so special today that we remember him and we remember all the members that we have lost in the line of duty because of his service. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we hear from the Acting Chief of Department, John Hodges.
Good morning. I remember when John Esposito told me about the idea for putting this together. He said we're going to be putting together a rubble pile, and I'd never heard that before, but now I see. There we have it. And it's a great training, area that we could learn so much from. And all of us on this job know Ray Downey. He was a legendary chief, and he was the kind of leader that we all wanted to be. He was extremely knowledgeable and determined, and a staunch believer of our training. He cared deeply for the safety of his members and for the public he served. He was brilliant when it came to technical rescues and difficult operations like the kind of incidents this all-hazards disaster training site here prepares our members to face. Chief Downey was one of the 343 members who gave their lives on September 11th, killed by a cowardly attack taken from the department he loved as he courageously worked to save lives. His sons, Joe and Chuck, carry on his legacy. Joe, the commander of the Rescue Battalion, an accomplished leader who has so often gone far beyond our city's limits, conducting urban search and rescue missions, utilizing the same tactics his father helped perfect. And Chuck, a leader as well, is our chief of the Fire Academy, helping to oversee the training of every probationary firefighter that graduates from here, molding and mentoring young firefighters, just as their father once did. That's why it's so appropriate that this site is named in Ray Downey's honor. Now, and for generations to come, young firefighters will learn how to save lives at the location that bears his name. And veteran firefighters will come to this site and train and improve their own abilities. We will never forget Ray Downey. We can never forget him, because the knowledge and wisdom he imparted to so many of his fellow firefighters has been passed on again and again, and the tradition continues today. His legacy lives on here at this site, where he will continue to teach and inspire. It's a wonderful tribute, and a fitting one at that. To the Downey family, who just celebrated another family member coming on the job, Ray's grandson, Joe, who graduated last month as one of our newest EMTs. Congratulations on this honor, and thank you for all of your family has given and sacrificed for our department. And to everyone here at the Fire Academy, keep up the outstanding work and continue to lead and teach others, just as Chief Downey did so well for so long. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. Enjoy the day, and God bless the FDNY.
Thank you, Chief. Please welcome Chief of Special Operations Command, John Esposito.
Good morning and welcome to the dedication of the Deputy Chief Ray Downey All Hazards Disaster Training Site. Special welcome to the Downey family and all the former rescue school instructors and officers. It's great to see you all. Thank you to Commissioner Kavanaugh and Chief Hodgins for their support, and to our rescue school personnel that designed and built this important training prop. I am honored to briefly speak about Chief Ray Downey and our new training prop. As we know, Chief Ray Downey was a legend not only in the FDNY, but across the country. He earned that status not only by what he did on the fire ground, but also by sharing his knowledge, experience, and opinion so others may learn and be better prepared to do their job, which is ultimately to save lives. Whether it was writing a book about rescue company operations, testifying before Congress, or commanding the urban search and rescue operation at the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, Ray Downey had a huge impact on the American Fire Service. The chief also left his mark right here when he founded the Technical Rescue School, where new members of the Special Operations Command came to train and learn from our experienced members. Firefighters that operated at the unique, uncommon, and unusual incidents were encouraged to share their experience during the training. The lessons from those major events are passed on and become part of the curriculum here at the Rescue School. The result is we have the most experienced and talented instructors anywhere. All of our rescue and squad firefighters and officers have spent weeks here training on the various technical rescue disciplines. So much training that the complex has almost become routine. Over the years, we have added training props to make our training scenarios more realistic. As you know, we have a trench in the back, we have a subway car, and as you can see now, we have a plane. We are now adding the All Hazards Disaster Training Site, which I believe has already yielded positive results. Some of the training we currently conduct here is combining the rescue and squad companies performing evolutions so they can operate as one cohesive unit. You see that we have Squad 1 and Rescue 2 here today to perform that training. This training paid off last April when Rescue Company 4 and Squad Company 270 operated as one cohesive unit to rescue and save the life of a fire officer trapped under the collapsed roof of a burning building in Queens. That quick, efficient, and professional rescue operation undoubtedly saved that firefighter's life. That is what the rescue school is about, and that is what our new training site is about, and I am sure that is a legacy that Chief Ray Downey is proud to have. Thank you again for attending the dedication and celebrating the life of Ray Downey.
Thank you, Chief. And our next speaker, Chief Downey's son, Acting Chief of the Fire Academy, Chuck Downey.
Thank you, Joe. And the ceremonial unit, I take this lap every day. It's never looked so good. So we have a lot of people to thank, so just bear with me. Good morning. On behalf of Chief Lieb and I, welcome to the Fire Academy. Commissioner Kavanaugh, Chief Hodgins, the staff, and all those present, thank you from the Downey family. To all the past lead instructors and those who have taught at the rescue school over the years, thank you from the Downey family. To all those that put a lot of time in making this dedication day special, Chief Leimeister, Captain Couch, Keith Jackson, Lieutenant Abdeliz, thank you from the Downey family. To all those involved in the design and construction of this training simulator, thank you from the Downey family. Special thanks to my brother Joe, my big brother, my older brother, my mentor. The tremendous amount of time and effort over the years to rebuild SOC and the USAR teams. Dad's smiling proudly. Brother, well done. So how do I describe Ray Downey? I thought about this the last few nights, and it's impossible in 3 minutes because I'm trying to keep it to like 5. But I think there's 3 pillars that I can speak about with my father, and it's family, it's faith, and it's the FDNY. And I know, Mom, you're probably like, well, I think the FDNY might have been first, but no, it was you, Ma. It was you and his family. And I know you often joked about that, telling us to shut up and talk to the rest of the family. But it really was family. And some of you have read his bio in the program, but I think his early life played a huge role in what he is today, serving the city of New York, our country, and the world. So real quick, he was the youngest of 5. He lost his father at the age of 9. So he would have to mature very quickly. He joined the Marine Corps after trying to be forced by Uncle Gene to join the Navy because Uncle Gene was from the Navy. And Sunnyside, Woodside area, we had a lot of decorated and a lot of lost Irishmen during World War II and the Korean War. But Uncle Gene used to say, Raymond, he didn't listen. He just did his old thing. He was stubborn. And I still remember the Uncle Gene stories talking about my dad. He never called him Ray. He was always Raymond. So after the Marines, he would meet my beautiful mother at their bank job. They would be married, 1961. And then she would become the boss because she was pregnant in February 62. And when the fire department called, she said no. So he would join in April 1962. And, when I think about my parents, because this is a lot about my dad right now, but they were such a great team. And the respect, the discipline, the hard work, and Mom classically always saying, do the right thing, do the right thing. And I think we did. At least 4 of us did, most of the time, right, Mom? Kathy was probably the only one that did everything right all the time. And that's why you were Dad's favorite, Kath. But we did. We tried to do that. We tried to do the right thing, respect, hard work. And as I said, he was disciplined, and she was the glue that held us together. Faith, the second pillar. Father, you'll like this, Father. Irish Catholic high school, Knights of Columbus, St. Cyril's and Methodius, and all the pilgrimages that you took, Medjugorje, Knock, Lourdes, Fatima, very religious. That was his second pillar, faith. His third, obviously, is the fire department, protecting the citizens of New York. And when I joined at the age of 24, I had my first conversation with my father. That's just a joke. We talked a little when I came on the job. But he really spoke to me when I went to rescue. That was when he really opened up. But honestly, I was very fortunate actually to commute with my father, and I see some of the Rescue 2 guys out there, Murph, Sanders, Jimmy. I see Rocky. As a young firefighter, I was on straight tours. He had always done straight tours. So we commuted the first 17, 18 months, and him and John Barbagallo, and I really began to see his passion, his commitment, and, what the fire department in the city of New York meant to him. And I was very fortunate, like some of you, to be a lowly probie in a car with these 2 gentlemen and to learn the job. You're starting out now, but you'll be growing and growing and learning. And you got to listen. Keep the ears open. That's what he always told me. Keep your ears open. So my dad's accolades are endless. Very few had the experience in the field, if any at all, of his experience. I have 32 years now. He became a chief with 32 years on the job. He was a captain for 17 years, opening up Squad 1 and to go into Rescue 2, as the program is showing you. A book, I know John mentioned the book, a series of videos, many articles in different publications. The advancements of SOC and the development of the USAR models. I see Doc Isaacs back there. He was here on Monday. Told me a story I had never heard before. A few years ago, Doc Isaacs was in Africa, Ghana, in fact, and he had met a fire chief. And the conversation went into, I work with Chief Downey, meeting my brother. And the chief said, you knew Ray Downey? That's pretty amazing. Africa, Ghana, asking if 18 years later that Doc knew Ray Downey. That's pretty impressive. Thank you for that story, Doc. So my dad's wisdom, his vision, his humility would impact so many others, and his command presence would be welcomed and needed at many incidents. In the command course and the captain's course, I see Chief Richardson out there. We often talk about CCC, cool, calm, and collected. And he definitely was the epitome of that. A model Christian life of service to New York City, to the Marine Corps, to Sunnyside, Queens, to Deer Park, the nation, and beyond. The Downey family is truly grateful to the FDNY for this all-hazards disaster training site named in our dad's honor. So from the Downey family, thank you all for never forgetting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And our final speaker will be Chief Downey's son, Rescue Battalion Commander Joe Downey.
Wow, that was excellent, Chuck. He is my younger brother, and he outranked me. So I do have to follow here. I had put something together, but as Chuck said, before I start, let me thank the Commission, Acting Commissioner Cavanaugh and Chief of Department. Thank you for having this day to remember our dad and honor him here. We believe it's deserving, but with his humility, he wouldn't want this for him today. But I'm not going to get into his career. Chuck did a fabulous job describing him, but I do want to touch on a few things here. I would like to thank the rescue school, the Technical Rescue School, the Division of Training, for putting all the effort and making this thing happen today. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but I think when Chuck got the spot, I had an in that would be able to pull this off. Only kidding there, but growing up, as Chuck mentioned, there's 5 of us. And Dad instilled those values, a very humble guy as my mom was, and always told us, whatever you want in life, you got to work hard for. Nothing's going to be given to you. You're not entitled to anything in this life, especially when we got on the job. We were fortunate to work with him in his command, but I felt we had to work that. There was never, as you would say, a scholarship to come in and work for him. Obviously it was an honor to be part of his command, and for me, I was fortunate enough to work in these 2 great companies, Squad 1 and Rescue 2, or here today. And after the ceremony, you'll get an opportunity. They're going to go to work on the site. And they'll do a little show and tell if you'd like and see how the site actually works. But having raised, he taught us the same thing. My brother Ray and my sisters are not on the job, but they still follow those values of working hard and making an impact in people's lives. They're all teachers. And every day they go in the classroom, they're making that impact. It's not the firehouse, but it's still the values. I keep going to values that our parents have taught us to make sure, you make something better when you leave, okay? You work hard at it. One thing about Mom, she was the most loving and supportive mom you would ever find to have as a mother. Our dad was strict, put it that way. I think many of you that are here that worked for him got that stare, Rocky, right? That Ray Downey, Clint Eastwood look when things weren't going so well. You know what? We got it at home, too. It was something that, I don't know how to describe it, but you did not want to let him down. He wasn't an angry man. He never hit us. But you felt that if you let him down, the world collapsed around you. So, and I feel guys that worked for him maybe could say the same thing. You wanted to work for him. And we wanted to be good children for him. He was sometimes referred to as the godfather of technical rescue, the master of disaster. He just seemed to be everywhere there was a disaster, he was there. As the captain of Squad 1, he was the original captain in 1977 when they opened it up, and spent 3 years there building a company. And then he went over to Rescue 2 to follow up. He was a firefighter there years ago and wanted to be the captain. And I believe he put technical rescue on the map while working in Rescue 2 with some of the most knowledgeable, skilled firefighters you will ever meet. When he was in rescue and in a squad, there was no training, organized training. There was no schools to go to. Basically, you went to that company and you learned by the senior men, which still happens now, but you couldn't go to the rescue school. We have probably over 1,200 hours we offer our new firefighters coming into this command, which is unbelievable. At the time, they still were able to accomplish every technical rescue that they needed to. Every emergency was taken care of because of the skilled people. Most of the people in those companies were tradesmen. They came in with a trade, and everybody offered something to the company to make things happen. As I said, there was no standardized training to go through. But in 1996, after he was promoted chief, and he came back as the chief of special operations, he found a way, like he always did, to figure out how to come up with a technical rescue school for our people. And right behind us here was the first trailer that they put on the property for the first technical rescue school, which I believe Chuck was in. In 1996, he was able to go through the first technical rescue school right on these premises where our disaster training site is put. Over the past 26 years, there's been many commanders that commanded the rescue school and built that foundation of what it is now. One man cannot do it. Ray Downey, as good as he was, cannot build the school by himself. He needed many of you that are here today to help him. And at the time when he put the school together, he handpicked his people. It wasn't like you can volunteer to come offline for a year so you can get back into special operations. He chose his people to run the school for those 5 or 6 years. And the results are what we have now. So many of them are here, and I know nobody's going to do this, but please put your hand up so we can acknowledge the commanders of the rescue school over the last 26 years, and thank you for doing that and continuing his legacy. Please, don't be shy. I know there's more hands here. Many of you didn't command the school, but have been instructing out here for many, many years and had the impact on our men and women that come through our school to make them the best that they could be. We will eventually put a plaque in the technical rescue school with everybody's name that commanded the school. In the back of the program, you will see the names of the members. And if we miss anybody, we tried to reach out to all our companies. Please let us know so when we put that plaque together, we'll honor them, as well as the members here, as you can see, guys like Terry Hatton, Tommy Bone, Timmy Higgins, Pete Martin are no longer with us, but played an integral part in building this school. All right, so let me tell you how this site happened. One day I was in the car with Louis Amoroso. Where is Louis? Louis over here by the steel I-beam. He was driving Chief Haight at the time, and I said, we're going to go over to Staten Island. There's a landfill there, and they're doing a training for K-9 search and rescue teams. I said, I want to go spy on it and see what we need to do to build our program here in the FDNY. So we go over there, and we're looking at their site that was built by the NYPD, and they train their search and rescue dogs there. And as I'm looking, I told Louis, I said, Lou, we need to do something like this, but we don't have a spot. And so far, we have no traction on it. How are we going to do this? Louis, as the typical Italian, probably could tell a story better than I could, honestly. He said, Chief, with full confidence, we could do this. There's a spot at the back at the rock, and we can clean it out, and we could put this. But you know what? It's going to be much better and bigger than what they have. And Louis, just put your hand up, please. He spearheaded this project from day one. From the time we went over there, his idea, he built it. I'll talk about the construction of it. Louis came offline. He was driving a rescue battalion. He came offline to build it. And then he needed more help. We listed the members here in the bulletin also under the great picture of our dad from Rescue 2 that helped build with Louis. He came off the chart. He recruited Tommy Fee from the TAC. Both of them together was some team. If they weren't killing each other, they were building something really good out here. They somehow, the Italian way, I don't want to say strong-armed, construction companies, vendors, the bridge authority. But most of this stuff was, he said I couldn't prove that, was not paid for. Fortunately, Louis knew somebody. Every time we needed some, Chief, I got a guy. It sounded like Freddie LaFamina when he was in the command. So Louis was able to get the concrete, the blocks, the cylinders, just about everything on there donated. And when he didn't get that donated, we were able to reach out to our go-to person. I don't see him here, but hopefully he's here, Jeff Garofalo in the grant unit. Jeff's here under the tent there. Jeff has been a tremendous supporter of rescue operations, special operations, and there were at times we needed funding. And as long as it was going to help the department and train our people to be better at what they do, Jeff was all in. And Jeff, thank you and your team for doing all you did for us. If you could picture what this area looked like, there was rubble, there was debris, overgrown weeds. It was something that I was surprised Chief Richardson, who was the chief of training at the time, didn't realize the value of what was left in the property back here. I think it was kind of a hidden gem. So once it was cleaned up by Louis and the crew, they were able to clean everything out, put a drainage system in, lay down the stone to support the collapsed area, and then start building. It only took them 55 days to complete the project, which was pretty amazing. The project did start in 2018. It was a while with COVID. Are we going to do the dedication? Are we not going to do it? And we had to come up with a name. I know it's a long name. You know, we didn't know what was fitting, but it wasn't Chuck or I's idea to name it after our dad. You know, we're very similar to who our dad was. You know, we didn't like to ask for anything, and we kind of felt funny being the children of Ray Downey and say, hey, name it after our dad. You know, so in typical Louis fashion, he took it out one day. I think he made a plaque, the Ray Downey site, something like that, and he put it here, and he said, Chief, we're going to name this after your dad. Sorry. So, Lou, thank you. I think I lost the mic. I needed that. We got it back? Okay, we're back. So, Lou, your team, the rescue, the officers that commanded the rescue school, and the senior men. Well, we tried, and I talked with Lou quite a bit, and the designers is try to design it in a realistic fashion that we're going to face in New York City. I know it was called a rubble pile, but from now on it's called the Ray Downey Disaster Site. Okay, we could cut it short. It looks like a pile of rubble, but it's not. It's well engineered, well designed. There's tunnels that go in and out this place. There's 25 different ways you could attack it. There's pancake collapses, parking garage collapses, blind shaft elevators, high angle, low angle. And the one last piece or two last pieces that we added, there's a slab with a piece of metal hanging out of it. You know, we tried to replicate what happened in Oklahoma City at the Oklahoma City bombing, where Dad was the operations chief. And they had people that had to remove under a slab of concrete that was hanging floors above. And he came up with the idea, I'm sure, with his people, that we need to tie this back. So that piece of slab doesn't look like much, but that's a replicate from the Oklahoma City bombing. And then the last piece we put on was the airplane. You know, obviously, it's pretty impressive looking. Again, one of our firefighters, Frank Fee, had a connection at Kennedy Airport. And he told the guy, if you ever get a plane, let us know. We can use one at our training. And lo and behold, the guy called Frank and said, listen, we got a plane. You know, I don't know how you're going to move it there, but we have a plane. We're salvaging it, and it's yours. It'll cost you a small buck, like $50,000, to move it. But if you want it, let us know. And the FDNY Foundation, you can see the tents here. They also been a tremendous help. I know to Chief Lieb and Chuck here at the Academy, but also to Special Operations and Chief Esposito. And they said we can do it. So we brought the two pieces over. This was the back half of the plane that we had our members split to make it look like it collapsed on the site. And if you go around the subway simulator, there's the cockpit that they're going to use as another simulator here at the training. So the All Hazard Disaster Training Site is here. It complements what we already, or what I should say, the Technical Rescue School has done. They have the Mike Esposito Trench Simulator around the corner from us, and also the Tommy Bone Confined Space Simulator. You know, it's a testament, as Chuck said, to those members that had an impact. If you get something named after you, you've done something good. It's an honor for the Downey family to be here today and to remember our dad 21 years later for the impact and guidance he gave so many of you here. It's so good to see some of the retired guys that worked in Rescue 2, Squad 1, the Rescue School, all over the city. The Downey family can't thank you enough. It's a great day. We want to celebrate today. It's not one of those days where it's a line of duty plaque. It's a celebration for Dad. Thank you all for this time.
Thank you, Chief. We will now commence with the dedication of the plaque.
Please remove the veil of the plaque. The plaque reads, Deputy Chief Raymond M. Downey was Chief of the Special Operations Command on September 11, 2001. He made the supreme sacrifice in the line of duty while helping others escape from the fire and collapse scene of the World Trade Center. Chief Downey's expertise in building collapse operations led him to establish the FDNY Technical Rescue School. He was a visionary on technical rescue and spent years sharing his knowledge through intense training with members of the Special Operations Command and the FEMA Urban Search and Rescue Task Force. The All Hazards Disaster Training Site is dedicated to Deputy Chief Raymond M. Downey in honor of his sacrifice and his devotion to prepare the FDNY and first responders across the USA to protect others during natural and man-made catastrophic events. Good and gracious God, we put Ray Downey's name on a plaque to remind us of his courage, his service, his leadership, and his accomplishments. Almost 21 years after he made the supreme sacrifice, his name and his spirit live on. Because Ray put his heart and spirit into everything he did, 21 years later, we see not only a legacy of service and sacrifice, but a spirit living on in others, continuing the work of search and rescue, training others to do it, anticipating problems, coming up with solutions, utilizing everyone's talents, making things better all around. This is what his name and this plaque will signify. So we bless this plaque with you today, God, remembering Ray's sacrifice and service and goodness and love that live on. We ask your blessing on this all hazards disaster training site that will carry Ray's mark and Ray's spirit in every activity done here. We ask your blessing on Ray's whole family. They are so much a part of who Ray was. They too made a sacrifice, a difficult and challenging one. And we know that Ray has continued to inspire and protect them and dwell in their hearts. We pray for them today, that God continue to draw new and good life from them and watch over them. And we pray today, Father, that you bless the fire department of the city of New York, bless everyone who is part of SOC, and bless every firefighter who comes through this entire place. May your commitment to this noble profession of firefighter be strong. May you know that your work is inspiring and important, and may your brotherhood with Ray and with one another continue to be the bedrock of the faith you display and the service you give. We make this prayer giving all glory and praise to you, our loving and faithful God, now and forever. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the acting commissioner, acting chief of department, and the Downey family, we'd like to thank everyone for attending today's very special ceremony. Everyone is welcome to take a tour of the training site. Members of Rescue 2 and Squad 1 will be conducting some training. Everyone's welcome to observe. Afterwards, they're going to give a tour, and after lunch, everyone's welcome to go over to Building 12 at Building 12 for lunch. You know what I mean. Chow's on. This concludes today's ceremony. Have a great day.